Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel for another tool review, and today we were going to be taking a look at one of these spanners, namely this rather interesting Raitool 10-in-1 spanner that I recently purchased from Banggood. What an interesting looking spanner then, guys. How does it compare with a traditional spanner? Well, it's all mainly in the jaws. Here we have a traditional 14mm open-ended spanner, and here's the Raitool 10-in-1. This end you can actually use on 14mm as well, as you can probably see just here. This also reminds me of Dr. Zoidberg from Futurama for some reason. Here is the packaging that it will arrive in. There's very little English on here whatsoever, and the same on the other side as well. It does give you some idea of how the spanner works. You can get this spanner in 3 different sizes. There's the T1, there's mine, the T2, or as I like to think of it, the Terminator version, and the T3. They're all different sizes of heads. What I'll do is I'll put you a picture up just here that you can see what they're like. They're made from Chrome Vanadium, so they should be okay in theory. Hopefully they're not made of paper mache like some of the spanners I've seen in the past a long while ago. This should be okay, and what we'll be doing is we'll be whipping it down to the workshop fairly shortly. Anyway, let's take a closer look at it, shall we, guys? Okay, so here's one of the business ends of the thing. As you can see, the jaws are designed slightly differently from the standard spanner, but we'll be taking a look at how this works a little later on in the workshop, guys. This is the size of the heads, or the nuts you can actually tighten up with this head here. You've got 7, 9, 11, 13 and 15mm on that side. Move along here, we have the some Chinese writing there, probably the company name I would imagine. And here we are at the other end of the spanner. 6, 8, 10, 12 and 14mm, would you believe? What we've got on this side of things, well, it's upside down. There we go. It's more or less the same. You've got the T2 there, type 2, more Chinese registered, so that must be the company name there then, I guess. Well, I must admit I'd never seen this before until I saw it on an email from Banggood, and I thought, whoa, yes, I'm definitely going to have to get one of those because it's the most unusual design. Like me, you're probably familiar with the standard spanner. You only get 2 sizes, in this case 14 and 15mm, and we also get things like this combination spanner, ring and open-ended. And the other thing you can get hold of is the adjustable wrench here. By rolling the roll around here, you can change the size of the spanner to fit whatever nut you like, but the only trouble with these is you get a little bit of a play here, so they're not always that good for doing nuts up. They can sometimes damage the nut, or they slip off. They're not all that clever really, to be honest with you. But this one, as I say, is made from Chrome Vanadium according to Banggood. It feels quite nice actually. It looks alright, the finish looks okay too. It is quite heavy. Let's put it on the scales. We'll start in ounces. So that's 3.5 ounces or 99 grams. I've measured this myself, guys. The overall length is 180mm long. This particular head here is 31.6mm wide, and this one is 29.1mm wide. Thickness of both of the heads is 7mm. Alright then, so it looks like a nice spanner. It's a very interesting design. It feels like it's a very good quality. I think what we ought to do is really get it down into the workshop and see if it can actually do some proper work like these ones would. Let's get down there, guys. And here we are in the workshop then, guys. Got all the spanners, including the one I'm reviewing. I've got a bag of nuts and bolts of various sizes here, and I've also got this nut and bolt here, which are of different size threads. The nut won't go onto the bolt properly, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to force them together to simulate a rusted nut and bolt to see if this can actually shift it without damaging itself or the nut. Okay, let's get started, guys. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with the spanners and how they work, here is the traditional open-ended spanner, and it simply fits over the nut like so, and you can then turn it round to tighten it up. You can see it fits on all the way. Let's try the 10-in-1, the Raitool 10-in-1. As you can see, it fits on slightly differently from the traditional spanner. You can see it's just caught on here and on here as well. Right, let's give it a go. I'm not going to tighten this all the way up, but there we go. And you can't undo it, you have to undo it, you've got to turn this one over. There we go. It just falls off otherwise. I think you could probably use it in a ratcheting fashion. Yeah, you can do. That's clever. This is how a ring spanner works. An adjustable spanner, we simply wind the little drum round here, and it gets to the correct size you want, and then you can then tighten it down. But as I say, these can be a little iffy sometimes. And we'll start with this relatively small nut and bolt here. Let's get the spanner onto it. You can see how it grips onto the nut. We'll see better with a larger nut, to be honest with you guys. As you can see, I can get some torque on it. It's definitely done up now, guys. You can probably see the vice moving around a little bit, and you've got to you can't undo it with this side, so you've got to turn him over, and there we go, loosen him off. Right, let's get a larger nut and bolt in here, shall we? Okay, here we go. This is a bit bigger then. Bring the spanner in. As you can see, it is definitely loose here. Get him hooked on, hopefully. There we go, now we've got him. As you can see, it gets hold of just here and the little bit there, the little tooth just there. Right, let's see what sort of amount of torque we can get on this then. Well, quite a bit. As I say, you can ratchet it round, so you can... I'm getting a fair amount of torque on here, guys. It's definitely done up. Here's a standard oh, wait a minute. Here is a standard 13mm open-ended spanner. You can see it's got some. Oh, it is tight as well. Yeah, blimey, it has done it up tight too. So it does quite a good job. Let's get the ring spanner on this end and give it a good tightening up. Yep, I should say that's nice and tight. Bring in the the new spanner. Get a grip, see if it can undo it. Has it done it, or is it just... Yeah, it's done it. Look at that. Pretty good then. Right, so what do you think we can do about simulating a rusted and seized nut and bolt? Well, we've got these two different threaded nut and bolt here. So that's finger tight. We'll pop them in the vise and tighten it up as tight as we can get it. Get a 14mm spanner on here and just force it on, basically, guys. It doesn't really want to be going on there, but let's get on there nice and tight. Yep, definitely nice and... yeah, it's definitely tight on there now, guys. Right in. What can we do with the new spanner then? Right, as I say, this is nice and tight, so we'll get the T2 onto it, and let's see what happens. Will it, you know, splay the spanner open? Will it slip off? Let's give it a go. God, blimey. Ugh. No, it's actually doing its job properly, guys. You can see how, because I can't, oh yes I can, there we go. Right in. So if you can't tighten it up. I like the ratcheting action you can do with this. Let's see how tight we can get it in, very carefully, guys. It's going well. Can we get it off again? Yep. Blimey. Done it. It's not bad then, guys. Don't think we've damaged it anywhere either. So the question is, can we do exactly the same thing with the adjustable spanner? Let's give it a go. Try and get it off. Yep. Although the jaws are opening up a little bit, I think you'll find. Can we get it back on again? Oh, blimey. Doesn't want to go back on, does it? Right. Yeah, you can just about do it with the adjustable spanner, guys. What about tightening it up? Yeah, you've got to keep readjusting it every time, look. Going careful here. Yeah, just about. I don't think I'd want to trust it too far, to be honest with you. It's done it. God, it's actually done quite a good job, to be honest with you. Okay. Pull it up again. It's really tight. Yep, it's not bad, this 10-in-1 actually, guys. Does alright. This is a 14mm side of things, by the way. Has it got hot? Has it made it warm? No, not really. Okay, so here I have a 7mm spanner and a little small nut and bolt. Let's see if we can tighten it up. Which we can. Now then, this here has a 7mm setting as well. So what we can do with it, see if we can get it undone first. Can it grasp it? So far, no. It can't get out the 7mm that side anyway. What about this side? Right, and so it can't get hold of a small 7mm. No, can't do it. Disappointing. Okay then, how can the 10-in-1 work as a 10mm spanner then? Right, so it's loosened it off. Right, and let's tighten it up. Get it on there and tighten him up. That's good and tight. Where's the 10-in-1? Drop him on there. Is this, here we go. This is the side we're going to need then, guys. Can it work as a 10mm? Yes, it can. That's alright then. Yep, drops on there nicely. So, yep, oh, it slipped off a little bit there. So I probably rounded the, yeah, we rounded the nut off. I think you can see just there where it slipped off and rounded it off quite nicely. Look, there's a standard part of the nut there, and that's where it's rounded it off. Look, what's it like on the opposite side of things? It's beginning to slip a little bit there as well, look, guys. So it's a bit of a compromise. As you can probably see there, guys, there's no damage at all to the spanner that I can see. So it's quite well made. It's quite a strong little spanner. So there we go, guys. There's the little Raitool spanner getting some use in the workshop. So I think what we better do now is pop back up to the studio. Okay then, guys, an interesting result in the workshop for the T2 model of this. Some of the smaller nuts and bolts didn't really want to work with it, and as you saw, it did actually round off the one that you could use a standard 10mm spanner on. However, there is, if you look at the description of the T2 and the T1 from Banggood, there is some overlapping in the sizes, and it would be interesting to try, and I might do it in the future, get a T1 spanner in and try it on the smaller nuts and bolts. It might work a little bit better actually, guys. Now, and as I said, I purchased this myself with my own money from Banggood, and I'll leave you an affiliate link down in the descriptive text to all three of the spanners, not this lot here, but all three of the Raitool spanners. Don't forget, you can subscribe to my channel, guys. If you enjoyed the review, please feel free to click a like on it too, and you can share it with your friends as well. You can also see what I get up to on Instagram too. If you're already following me, you will have seen this spanner on there already, as well as quite a few of my other tools I've been putting up recently. Alright then, guys, would I recommend this spanner? Maybe, if you don't use a lot of you know, heavy work with it, as long as you're fairly it works with the larger nuts and bolts as we've seen, but the smaller ones, it doesn't really want to work with the smaller ones, so I found the T1 spanner might work a lot better with the small nuts and bolts. I don't know, I'd really have to get one in and find out. I can't really say, guys. It might be alright, because it's this sort of like, you know, from the medium to the larger nuts that work quite well in this one, the smaller ones don't work so well at all. So perhaps the T1 might be the one to go for if you work with smaller nuts and bolts, guys. And it would be also interesting to see what the larger T3 one does as well. But they're videos for the future, guys. So would I recommend it? Maybe, yes. You know, it's just one spanner to carry around as opposed to 10 of them, I suppose. Probably not as good as a standard open-ended spanner, but you know, you could just about get away with it, especially on the larger sizes. So yeah, it's alright. Okay guys, well thanks for popping around and taking a look at this spanner with me today. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I hope you'll come back again for some more tool reviews in the future then. Laters!
Oh.